Welcome back to another False 9 TV video, and I do appreciate you spending a little bit of your time out of your day with me. Time is precious, so I definitely appreciate it, and it does mean a lot. If you find this video interesting, please drop me a comment and leave me with a like at least. And I'm not going to beg too much because every YouTuber already does that, but hit subscribe if you want to. Now, today's video, we're going to be focusing on clubs that are located on islands. And whether you are an American trying to get into football because the World Cup's coming up soon and you need a club to support, or you're just looking, or you're already casually into football and you're just looking for another club to support when your club is not playing, or you just want to learn something. Because I guarantee you, I don't want to say most clubs, but I guarantee you there's a handful of clubs on my list that you've never heard of, even if you're a diehard fan. Now, I'm going to try to mix this up and get a well-known club, and then I'm going to alternate to a lesser-known club. So that way I'm not hitting all the big clubs first and then the small clubs second. So that said, there's going to be one little more piece to this video. Is I'm also going to be ranking the crest. And just to put some context to it, I've also got the maps pulled up here, and I'm going to show you where the club is located at. Now, some of these clubs I know very little about, so it might be a hard time for me to find myself. But that said, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off with a La Liga club. Now, they're nowhere near on the likes of the level of, say, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico, or anything like that, but they're pretty much a mainstay in La Liga, and that is Mallorca. Now, in terms of their crest, I'm going to be honest with you, not the biggest fan of it. I want to put them in the C category. Now, where are they located, you might ask? So this is a good option, especially if you're in the US, because it's easy to watch La Liga on ESPN. So they're located right here on the island of Mallorca. Go figure. Which, by the way, is absolutely beautiful. Now we'll go back, and we're going to go to a... you know what? Let's stay in Spain. We're going to go with Ibiza. And from what I understand, there's actually another club in Ibiza, but this is, I hate to use the term bigger club of the two Ibiza clubs, but this one you actually could play with on FC maybe 2 years ago. They recently got demoted to the third league in Spain, which I forget the name of it, but they're doing decent. I think the crest is pretty cool. So I'm going to put it as an A category. And if you don't know where Ibiza is, it's located right here. And I'm not talking about the Ibiza King, the guy who went viral earlier this year. So next we're going to go to, let's go to Italy next. And we're going to be looking in Sicily. And yes, for those out there who are geography challenged, Sicily is an island. And we're going to go to Palermo. And Palermo has a rich history. Players like Edison Cavani used to play for them, and they had some financial troubles, ended up having to start in the lower leagues. They've worked their way back up to Serie B, which is the second level in Italy. And you can watch Serie B games, actually. Let me see if I can... I don't know if this is in Europe or not, but there is I don't know if you can see it, an app called Destination Calico, and I could be saying that completely wrong, but you can watch Serie B games on there, and I actually love their crest as well. They've got very unique colors. The only other team I know that goes with the pink color is Inter Miami with David Beckham and Messi down in MLS. But I do love it, and they are located, obviously, as I said, in Palermo on the island of Sicily, which is also another absolutely beautiful town. And let's go to a lesser-known club. Let's go to England, and let's go to, forgive me if I'm saying this wrong, Guernsey. And if my research shows me correctly, this is the only team that actually competes in the English Football League that is located on an island. And by that I mean I don't. Let me reword this. I don't mean because there are some clubs in Wales that compete in the English League, but they are located down here. And I know Wales isn't an island. I'm just saying they are the only, I believe, club outside of Wales that competes in the English tier system. And Guernsey actually has an amazing crest. I believe it reminds me of a club we have here in America called Lexington SC, I believe they're called. They incorporate the green in there as well. I think it's a pretty cool badge and pretty cool club as well. But let's go on to another. You know what? Let's go back to Spain and let's look at down to the Canary Islands, which honestly, if you're looking at this on the map, that has to be a hell of a commute, especially if you're playing one of the northern teams in Spain. Canary Islands, located all the way down here, right off the coast of Morocco. And we actually have two clubs that play on the Canary Islands. The first being Las Palmas, which I think has a pretty cool crest as well. They were in La Liga last year and got demoted down to the Segunda Division. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. But they had a Mexican American player that played there. I don't remember if it was last year or the year before, but he was on loan there at Las Palmas. And I think it's really cool when the Canary Islands have a club in La Liga. Hopefully, one of them can get back because we have the other club, which is Tenerife, which is right here. And I think their crest is a little bit. I'd put it a little bit below Las Palmas. And they're both located right here. And again, Las Palmas is right here. And I don't know if I can pinpoint where the other club plays at. I think it's right here in this town, but I could be completely wrong. Let me know in the comments if that's wrong. And they actually, I believe last year, got demoted to the third tier of the Spanish division. And they had a lot of veteran players last year, so it didn't quite work out well for them. And speaking of top 5 leagues, let's go over here back to Italy and France. And I'm going to go ahead and get the other Italian league the team out of the way, which is Cagliari, which is located right here. And they play, oh goodness, I believe they play in Serie A. I haven't watched the Italian league much lately, but I think they have a really cool crest, and they have really cool colors. And if I'm not mistaken, they were recently building a new stadium. I don't know if that's done yet or not, but it seems like I remember they were playing in a temporary stadium a few years back. But yeah, they're located right here on this huge island. And then the other two French clubs I'm going to mention play right here on this island, right above it. One being Bastia, and the other being, I can't even say it, is it Ajaccio? So Bastia, I think, has a little bit better of a crest. I like how they have the blue. And I'm going to put ACA right here. Now, something I've noticed about these 3 clubs right here that are all located right here in the Mediterranean is, if you look close, the individual on each crest, they all have that headband. I'm sure there's some sort of cultural significance to that. And please educate me in the comments if you know the cultural significance to that. But you can't help but notice when you're looking at it that all 3 of them have that on there. I'm sure it means something. I don't know what it is, though. So now we're going to get into some probably lesser known clubs. And I'm going to start off with a pretty big shout here. We're going to go all the way to Australia. Now, Australia recently implemented a second division, if you will. I don't know if they're going to go promotion relegation or not. I don't quite remember that much about it. But they've implemented a second tier division, or their version of the championship. And they have a club from Tasmania competing in their league called, and I could be saying this one wrong too, South Hobart. And I'm not the biggest fan of their badge. I think the colors, I don't know. There's something about that red and off blue that I don't think goes well together. But I looked this club up, and they have a pretty, of course, I don't know where it is in the town, but they have a pretty cool stadium with a nice view in the back. Looks like there's some mountains in the background of their actual, of their stadium. So it looks like a cool place to see a game at. And next, we're going to go to, let's go to Scotland. And this is the only club that competes in the Scottish leagues that is not on the mainland of Scotland. And this is located all the way, I believe, up here. Yes. So they are called Orkney Football Club. Now, I see if you zoom in here, there is an island, I believe, called, like, I believe the actual island is called Orkney, but if I'm not mistaken, they actually play over here in Kirkwall. I remember looking up their stadium. I couldn't find any pictures of the stadium itself, but I did see the grounds or the area that they play, that their home games in. And I forget what tier of Scottish football they're in. I believe they're in the 6th tier of Scottish football. Here's their crest right here. I don't necessarily think it's the most impressive thing in the world, but to be located that far north and be able to play, I have to imagine that's a battle to play in. I'm from Florida, okay, so anything below a certain temperature that most people would find perfectly acceptable, I'd be gasping for air. My lungs would be killing me if I were playing in that weather. And I have to imagine the wind is pretty strong there too. So we're going to go ahead and travel down to the Portuguese League, and we're going to take a trip over here to these islands. And let's go down here first, actually. So this little island right here is actually where let me see here. It's actually where Cristiano Ronaldo is from. It's this one right here. So it's Nacional, CD Nacional. I'm not sure if I'm saying it completely correct or not, but probably the coolest stadium maybe in the world. If you look it up, it is absolutely beautiful, and they have some amazing colors as well. I think the purple and the gold is so cool. And but yeah, this is located in a really cool place, I think. And let me see if I can randomly get a picture that'll pop up here. No, I don't think there's going to be a good picture of it. But okay, here we go. Here's kind of. I don't know if you can see that on the screen or not, but of course I don't know where their stadium is in reference to this picture. But their stadium, it's almost like they're playing up here, and you can look over and see. Just look it up. Trust me, I can't. Even if I explain it, I can't do it any justice. But they have a pretty badass crest too. Now, the other team that's located on the islands in the Portuguese League. Oh, by the way, these are both in the Portuguese Premier League, by the way. I believe it's called the Primeira Division. Primeira Division. And this is the other one, which is going to be Santa Cruz, which I believe is located right here. Wow, it's beautiful. But the team represents these islands right over here. And I'm not the biggest fan of red and white, so I'm just going to put it in a C category for my own personal, my own personal rankings. You may love it. But if you're looking, they also have a different crest as well, which I actually like this crest better than the other crest, but you may find their older crest available if you Google them. So let's go to Canada next, shall we? So believe it or not, especially if you're not from North America, Canada does have a football league called the Canadian Premier League. And they have, early on, one of the more successful teams was Pacific Football Club. And they play, I believe, right here. I know they play on the island. I don't know where in reference they play at on here, but I know they're not far from Victoria. And I actually love everything about this crest. It kind of cuts it off a little bit, and I don't know if you can see, but that's actually a tree right there. And the shape of it's supposed to represent the actual island here. Um, Beautiful crest, well thought out. There's actually some meaning behind it. Um, if I remember back in 2021, I think it was, they actually beat the Vancouver Whitecaps in whatever the Canadian Cup is called, where all the Canadian teams play each other. And that was quite a big deal. And their manager ended up, I believe he is managing in the USL now. But yeah. So next, let's go ahead and stay in North America, actually. And let's go to New York. But we're not going to New York City. We're going to Long Island, where you're going to find the Rough Riders. Now, I think this crest is cool, but I think it's a little corny also. I believe they play in the USL League 2, which is a semi-professional league where there's players can keep their amateur status so that way they can still play collegiate soccer, which that's a whole other mess if you're not American, and this video is not for that. But yeah, they play there, and then going down the road a little bit to New Jersey, you're going to find one of the better, I think, crest in the U. And they also play in the USL, which is Atlantic City Football Club. Which, if you know anything about Atlantic City, it used to be the East Coast version of Vegas. For those who don't know, and their crest represents a card, a playing card. Now, Atlantic City may not be anywhere near what it once was, but I think this is one of the better crests in North America. And we have 4 left here. Let's go ahead and knock the 2 Asian clubs out of the way. So if we go over here to Korea, you're going to see this island down here. Now, this club plays in the K-League, which is the main league in Korea, which you used to be able to watch their games online. I don't know if you still can. I know at least maybe 2 or 3 years ago you could watch all their games for free on their website. But you're going to find Jeju SK, and that's going to be one of the ones that I'm worried about my pronunciation of it. And if you can see it, they have a volcano on it. They got some pretty cool colors. They used to have their main player used to be a Brazilian. I don't know if he's still there or not. It's been a couple of years since I've actually watched any of the Korean League games. But they're located right here on this island south of South Korea. Now we'll go on to the Japanese team. Now the Japanese league has, I guess, 3. They have a J.League 1, a J.League 2, and a J.League 3. And I think this club plays in the J.League 3. And this is going to be probably my only one here that I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. I'm going to put them in the B category. But now if you're looking at Japan, most people probably think of Osaka, Tokyo, even Hiroshima, and even some of these islands down here are beautiful, like this one right here. But that's for another day right here. But most people don't go north. In fact, there are islands up here, if I'm not mistaken, when you're standing at the northernmost point in Japan, I believe you can actually, on a clear day, see Russia. Could be wrong about that. But this club plays on this big island right up here that is the island that's right below the Russian islands. Be an interesting place to see a game, that's for sure. So we're going to end this on two clubs that I know you've never heard of. And if you have heard of, let me know in the comments and I will admit defeat. The first one we're going to be talking about is the Tanzanian territory, Zanzibar, where you're going to find this club right here. That it's going to be another one that I'm probably not even going to attempt to announce. I think their crest is actually really, really cool. Now, the unique thing about them is they're the only one on this list that doesn't actually play in their country's league. Zanzibar has their own league. I believe there's a handful of teams. I want to say maybe 12, 14, 16, something like that, clubs that all play each other. They're not actually in the Tanzanian Football League, so I was on the border of, or kind of on the fence of even including them in here because all these clubs play, if they're in off-seas territory, they usually play in their country's league. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly or not, but they play right here. I mean, just look at that crest. That's badass. And then the last one, we're going to be going to Equatorial Guinea, which is a very unique country. And if you don't know anything about it, it's the only country that has Spanish as an official language, although I'm not entirely sure what percentage of the population speaks it as their first language. But if you see right here, you're going to see Equatorial Guinea. Now, this club plays right over here at Malabo. And that's actually, if I'm not mistaken, that's the capital of Equatorial Guinea. So yes, their capital is not even located in their main, I don't know what you want to call it, the main part of their country, which is going to be this club right here. They go by Sony, but there's a longer name to it, which this is the only version of the crest I could find, which isn't that great looking. Perhaps it's just the picture, but it doesn't do it any favors. So I'm going to put it in a D category for now. So that concludes the video. I tried to move a little bit fast because I didn't want this video to take up too much of your time. Hopefully you learned something new. If you learned something new, let me know in the comments. If you want to tell me a cool fact or something I missed, let me know in the comments as well, because I know probably half of these clubs I know very little about, so let me know in the comments some cool facts about your club. If you support one of these, thank you for watching. Whenever this video comes out, whether it be midweek or the weekend, hope you have a good week or weekend, and I hope whatever you're looking forward to comes true. Thanks, guys.